Yes, DSLRs are great to have. You can change the lenses, you can change the settings, so you can really control what it is that you're filming. But what if the only camera that you have, the camera that you're gonna film with, is the one in your pocket, your smartphone? In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips that will help you level up your smartphone videography. All 5 tips can be used on Androids and iPhones, and you do not need to pay for any filming apps. All you need is the native camera app in your phone. No one is ever gonna know that you aren't using an expensive camera with a big old lens to shoot your video. You are gonna look like a pro. Although feature films have been shot on smartphones. Seriously, look it up. Look up the movie Tangerine. They filmed that movie on an iPhone 5S, and it screened at Sundance in 2015. How to get high resolution or quality, and selecting frame rate or frames per second. Most cameras will give you the option of recording in either 720p, 1080p, or 4K. You are going to want to choose either 1080p or 4K. You are also going to have several frame rate options: 24, 30, and 60. 60 frames per second will give you the smoothest motion, but it does require more light while filming. 24 frames per second is the most cinematic option. Feature filmmakers use this frame rate. 30 frames per second is a great choice when you're uploading to someplace like YouTube. And honestly, it's really hard to tell the difference between 24 and 30 frames per second. Tip number 2, turn on grid lines in settings. In photography and videography, there's a composition rule called the rule of thirds. This says that if you place your subject in either the left or the right third of the frame, it will make for a more compelling image. So the grid lines will help remind you of that rule. Now, if you're using your camera to record yourself, then the grid lines will help make sure you're placing your face in exactly the same place every single time. Tip number 3. Lock your exposure and focus. When you set up your shot and you have everything in focus and exposed exactly how you want it, you can lock your choices by tapping and holding on the screen. Having your exposure and focus change as you move your camera around is a pretty big tell that you might be filming with your phone and that you maybe aren't a professional. Locking your exposure and focus will allow you to pay more attention to what it is that you're filming, the thing that you are an expert in. And that way you don't have to worry about what your camera may or may not be doing. Tip number 4, record in landscape orientation. When you are recording a video, you want to record in landscape orientation. Always turn your phone, please. I used to live out in Seattle, Washington, and I worked for a major tech company out there making videos. And sometimes we would have to ask employees to film themselves and then send the video to us, and we would include it in a larger holiday video maybe that would be going department-wide. And we would tell people ahead of time, please record in landscape. And we would include it in written documentation. Please record in landscape. And inevitably, I assume we would get people who would just forget or not realize just how important it is to record in landscape. And so they would record themselves handheld like this, in portrait. Don't be those people. Be the expert. Be the pro. Turn your phone. Tip number 5, do not use the digital zoom. Using the zoom feature on your phone will result in a lot of pixelation. So in order to preserve that crisp image that you want for your video, don't be afraid to simply step closer to your subject. And that's it. Those are 5 easy tricks that you can use to film on your smartphone so that you can focus on your own content. Leave a comment below and share any tips and tricks that you have for filming on your smartphone. And if you'd like to see more, I hope you'll subscribe. Until next time, thanks for watching.